welcome to CoffeeCast. CoffeeCast is a new way to really get to understand and appreciate and really celebrate the roofing contractors who are out there. And it is sponsored by Hover. Hover, who is bringing a whole new way of doing business in the roofing industry. So today, I am thrilled to introduce a great, actually, probably one of my favorite, I gotta say it, my favorite roofing contractors out there. And so before we get to going too far, first of all, my name is Heidi Ellsworth, and this is Roofers Coffee Shop. And I want to introduce Ken Kelly with Kelly Roofing. Ken, thank you for being here today.
You're welcome, and how ironic, because you're one of my favorite people in the whole industry.
It better not get out.
We do a lot together. So, okay. Julie, just real quick before we get started and dive into all these awesome questions for Ken, as we are picking contractors, as we're looking for contractors for CoffeeCast, we look out there and we are really inspired. And so what you and I we looked at some different contractors, and of course we had to ask Ken to come on to the show. What are you seeing out there with these kind of contractors, with people like Kelly Roofing?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And it's very timely too, Heidi. I mean, even the conversations and, I've probably spoken to, 300-400 contractors just this year with all the challenges and the nuances and, hey, how do I evaluate technology? What do I do about my recruiting needs? It's really hard to find and keep good people. And how do I innovate? How do I grow my business and scale? I mean, all of those questions are so top of mind. We end up getting on for like a 30-minute discovery call with contractors, and they're like, can we go an hour? Like, we're just feeding them so much good information. So people like Ken that have been a proven innovator, right, and are doing things that are typically 6 months to a year ahead of maybe some of the other folks in the industry, can really glean a lot. So that's why I'm excited to have Ken here to just share the knowledge and help the other industry, the whole ecosystem benefit from guys like Ken.
Yeah. Well, Ken, now that we've got you all prepped, we're ready to hear your story. So as part of the CoffeeCast, celebrating your story, can you start out with sharing with everybody who you are, how you got into roofing, kind of give us your story?
Sure, absolutely. Ken Kelly, president of Kelly Roofing. We're a Florida-based contractor. We focus on the roofing side of the business. We mainly do re-roofing, and we have a strong repair division. We try not to do too much new construction, but we do a little bit of it. We do about 90% retail, a little bit of storm work. Occasionally, Florida gets a hurricane about every 10 to 12 years. So when one comes in our backyard, we obviously take advantage of that. But how I got into the business was by working on the roof with my father year after year, mainly in the summers, mostly going through high school. And then an unfortunate accident happened. A few weeks out of high school, I was working with him on the roof, just like I had done the 4 or 5 summers prior. And I was getting ready to go to college. And unfortunately, I watched him fall off a roof in front of me, and he crushed both of his wrists. So I ended up taking over the family business at 17 years old, and I've been growing it ever since. Now, Dad was a great roofer. He wasn't the best businessman, but that was back in a day where you could run a nice small family business with just maybe 1 or 2 employees. You can do everything yourself. So intimately, I got to know all of the areas of the company. Now, where things really started to take off is when Hurricane Andrew hit in 1992. Oh, yeah. That was my senior year of high school. And there's this crazy little story where my dad had me skip 76 days of school in order to help him sell roofing in Miami, which is across the state, after Hurricane Andrew. And the funny story is, back in the day, he would do everything longhand from an estimate standpoint, and it would be on this legal pad, and it would start from scratch every single estimate. And what I did while I was sitting in the back of a rent-a-car, because we had given the only truck that we had in the company to our main employee so he could go and do emergency dry-ins and make money, I sat in the back of this car, this rent-a-car, with a dot matrix printer, a monochrome monitor, and a 386 computer, and I wrote using Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Access, a database and a spreadsheet program to help Dad pump out estimates faster. And what he used to be able to do was maybe 1, 2, or 3 estimates a day. We were doing 3, 4, 5 estimates an hour. So we were able to use technology as an accelerator, and that's what started us in technology throughout our career since.
Wow. My first year in roofing was Andrew also. So there we go, looking back on it. But Julie, you had some questions on technology.
Yeah, Ken, just to kind of double tap on that a little bit more, even as you're more in the future state of the business and what we're seeing and just the world we live in and how technology has kind of come in to try and disrupt industries like home improvement. Really curious of how you evaluate technology and how you and your team kind of look at all the offerings. And also, what are the things you'd recommend for contractors to start automating, like today, if they're not already doing so?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't take the time and invest in what the platform's limitations are and how it's truly going to fit with your business, then you're probably going to get something you're not going to be happy with. So what I've done whenever we've looked at taking on a new technology is I've invested the time to actually go to a programming boot camp, take all of the training programs that are offered personally and become that champion within the organization and walk through kind of a pilot program to make sure that it's a fit. Because every business is unique and it's your special sauce that makes you stand out amongst the competition. Even in your market, you probably have great competition and you both are equally successful, right? Nice size, good loyal attraction, stable employees. And that's probably because you're both doing something that appeals to a different type of customer and employee and vendor base. That doesn't make you wrong. It just makes you uniquely qualified. And if you're forced to be pigeonholed into a platform that doesn't follow that culture, well, then it's going to make everybody the same. And that's not going to be good for you and it's not going to be good for the industry. So my suggestion, become that champion, go and learn how to speak the language, really dive deep, see a bunch of demos and make sure it fits your business.
That's great. Thanks so much, Ken. Couldn't agree more. We're hearing this over and over, and I think people need to embrace change and be change makers, right? And just the current state we're in. Switching gears a little bit. So I'm really curious with a guy like yourself, you're on the road all the time, you're doing these great interviews, you're winning awards, you're innovating tech before it gets here. Would love to understand two things. One, just your personal, how do you balance the business and family life? And I know you spend time with Habitat for Humanity and some other things that you're reinvesting into the community. And then B, how do you infiltrate that culture and mindset to your team to stand up that culture and to create and keep good talent?
Well, you know what, Julie, you said it. It's all about the team. If it wasn't for such great people who have their heart in it and really want to do what's right, there's no way that I would have the time to step away from working in the business to continue working on it and to help the industry at large. So some of the philosophies behind that is, when you empower people, when you give them authority to make decisions and the responsibility to make good ones, that empowerment goes a long way. They take ownership. And then the last thing is time management. I'm a steward of time management. Now, a lot of people will laugh if you saw my schedule because I literally have a 2-hour block first thing in the morning, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And it says, get up, work out, breakfast, shower, dressed, with like little slashes in between it. It is the most ridiculous thing. But the truth is when you are go, busy, and everybody is trying to vie for time and you're trying to get places and do things, if you don't block out time for yourself, you're never going to take it. So you've got to see my recurring appointments. It's the most hysterical thing, but everything from spending time with, the significant other. Jen's really good about that too. She's extremely well organized. She's a doctor. She does transplant. I mean, she's very busy. So it works for us. I'm in multiple locations with the company. I live in Fort Lauderdale. I'm in Naples on Tuesdays. I'm in Jacksonville on Wednesdays. I fly myself. I have to file flight plans and all that. If I wasn't really disciplined and a steward of time management, there's no way I could keep all of this going. So my piece of advice to people on how to be really good at time management is throw away your to-do list. To-do lists do not work. They're a joke and they should be abolished. Instead, take your to-do list and put it into a calendar, give everything a half-hour time slot, and now you'll actually carve out the time it takes to do what you need to do to knock out those items instead of just building up on a to-do list that's never going to get done.
I love that. I should already know that, but that's amazing. So I love that question, Julie. That's probably one of my favorite questions that we ask the contractors.
Yeah.
But I have another question that I would really love for you to give some insight to everyone on, and that is the kind of the future of the relationships between roofing contractors or contractors in general and insurance companies. And so we're asking everybody this because everybody comes at it from a little bit different direction. But with your experience in Florida and hurricanes, we'd really love to hear some of your insights on this.
Sure. I think the stormer market is one of the worst frauds being committed against building owners currently in society. Unfortunately, they're really good at it. And eventually, the laws from local governments and municipalities, the homeowners due to rising homeowners insurance rates, and the insurance companies due to policy changes will eventually get in front of this and shut it down. And you know what? It needs to be. There's far too many times where people go and offer a free roof, cover the deductible, create the damage, prove it to the insurance company, put it through the legal cycle. So an insurance company is backed on the corner and they say, you know what, it's better just to settle this thing than to break into court and have all the attorney's fees with it. That will eventually get shut down. We see it from deductibles going from $500 to a percentage of the value of the home. We see this from policies now where insurance companies get to fix themselves, where they have authorized contractors who don't play those games and actually do what's right and repair when able or replace if necessary and those type of things. They are really getting close. In Florida, we've got Senate Bill 76, which talks about anti-advertising and so forth that stops roofers from advertising free roofs, do the insurance backings and so forth. So it might take 10, 20 years, but that's where we're headed. So if you're in that business, make hay while you can. I don't fault you. I've done insurance work myself. I know how the game is played. I play it just as well as anyone else. We choose not to, but I know how it's played. I'm just saying that it's not going to be around forever. They'll put holes in that and then eventually shut it down.
Yeah, we've been hearing that for a long time, haven't we, Julie?
Totally. Absolutely. And it made me think of just a quick follow-up to that, Ken. I hear this too all the time, right? It's kind of like, hey, my business isn't predictable this way either, right? I'm banking on a storm to happen or a hurricane. What are some best practices or advice for roofers that are like, you know what, I want to stand up a retail division. I want to do some of the things that you're predicting. I think we're already seeing happen. With the consolidation in the marketplace, right? Some of these people won't be here, and some of these other large firms doing the right things are going to capitalize and have advantage. So what would you say to somebody that's thinking about standing up a retail part of their division?
It's a great question. If you've already been in the market, and even if it was a short period of time, you have a customer list. And work gets work. That was a statement my father used to say all the time. I never really fully understood it until we started getting feedback from clients. I see your trucks everywhere. And that is a testament to work gets work. Go after your past customers. Give them a free inspection on their anniversary. We have a program called Roof Anniversary. Go back every other year. Free inspection. If there's something wrong, we did it, we'll fix it. If there's something that a customer could either need, want, or deserve, well, we're going to offer it to them. So, just stay tight with your customers, continue with those relationships. And if you're in the new market, I apologize, you're going to have to spend for it.
Yeah, no, that's fair answer. Thank you. Love it. On that same tone, how do you think technology is going to continue to evolve, whether we're talking about homeowner engagement or, I'm able to automate my process and provide estimates faster, more reliable, the production piece as I'm dealing with labor shortages and material shortages. So I'd love to hear where you think tech can really influence the end-to-end process you live in every day.
Technology is going to allow those who embrace a customer experience and convenience to excel. People don't want to have their roof work done. They just want to get it done and forget about it and never have to worry about it again. Think about it this way. Let's say, for instance, you come home from work one day and you open up the refrigerator to pull something out to maybe start making dinner, and you realize that everything in your refrigerator is warm. The refrigerator is broken. Your first initial reaction is, oh, what a hassle. right? Now imagine that being your roof. That has 10 times the experience because you know it's going to be at least 10 times the price. So what can we do to make that a better experience? You know what? We can come in and just take away all the headache. No problem. We've got this. We're going to take good care of you. We're going to communicate with you, so you don't have to worry about when we're coming, what we're doing, when we're going to be here. You're not going to even know we're here. You're going to be at work. We'll be here after you leave for work. We'll be gone before you get home. It'll always be cleaned up. We won't leave anything in your driveway. You know, that type of stuff is what's going to drive this. So if you use technology as a silent manager, and you can deliver on that nice experience and the convenience to the customer, technology is going to change your business. And if you don't, it's going to change the business, your competition, and you're not going to be in business. So embrace it because it's here to stay.
Yeah, you know what I see too is what we've done, Ken, together, you and I, on Roofing Technology Think Tank. Hover's part of that, really bringing these concepts of what technology, how things are going to change for the contractors over the next 5 years, 10 years. It's going to be incredible if you're not in front of it, as you've shown. You've been in front of it the whole way, and that's a lot of the success that goes into it, is embracing these new things. I liked what you said earlier on change, and so I think that kind of leads us to, I would love to know, what is one of your fundamental leadership principles? And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
It would be tough for me to pick one. If I had to pick one, I would say Kaizen, which is the Japanese word for a constant commitment to lifetime learning and improvement. That would be it. Out of that concept, I have to speak about the Toyota Way, which is the 13 principles of lean in Six Sigma. And I'm a huge fan of Genchi Genbutsu, which means go see for yourself. You don't make decisions from a conference room. You make decisions on the roof. You know, when you're out and speaking to a customer or seeing for your own eyes what's going on. But that all comes back to Kaizen. I read about a book a week. Unfortunately, I don't read very well, but fortunately, I listen well. So thankfully, Audible is really one of those technological improvements that has allowed me to really accelerate, because I'm now up to about 3.5 times speed. I can consume very large books in a short period of time. I listen to about 5 or 6 podcasts a day, very religious about that. So consuming information, staying on top of it, always learning, I feel gives me the edge, so that when someone asks a question, I might not know all of it, but I can go learn it and I can get real deep quick. So yeah, always learning.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love that.
It's how I listen to my sales team's gong calls at 2.5x, Ken. So
Awesome.
In that same vein, what other resources outside of technology and, you know, overall mantra, like what other resources have you leaned into to really help you continue to accelerate and just be where you're at today?
I'm a big fan of EOS, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. If you don't know about that, you need to read the book Traction or Get a Grip. That has really changed our organization from a cultural standpoint and allowed us to sustain growth. I'm a big fan of Jocko Willink and Extreme Ownership. I think his leadership principles are so easy. Well, number 2 of his leadership principles is simple. So, you know, but it's great because you can always fall back on one of those 4 principles and it'll pretty much help you in any situation. And they're tried and true. The book Good to Great is fantastic when it comes to picking leadership and direction. When it comes to dealing with people, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And a lot of people don't talk about Dale Carnegie's second book. He only wrote 2 books. The first one, I think, is the 7th best-selling book of all times, behind the Bible, the Quran, the Boy Scout Handbook, and a couple others. But you know, nobody talks about how to stop worrying and start living. And in our business, we have a lot of stress. There's a lot of things that roll uphill. And if it wasn't for our ability to turn that off and segregate it, we wouldn't be able to sleep at night. And a lot of people struggle with it. So this book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, it is very, very long. It's a couple thousand pages, but I'm going to boil it down into something real quick for everybody real fast. You can take this away. It basically boils down to this. If you have an issue that you're faced with, try to think of what the worst possible scenario or outcome would be, and then come up with a solution to get around it. Worst comes to worst. If you have that, everything else seems trivial. It's like one of those don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. And if you can really justify that in your mind and live by that rule, you'll be worry free. You'll be able to move a lot faster and not be weighed down by fear, and you know, make those decisions quicker for you and your team.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. I've taken some notes. I've learned a lot today. I appreciate your willingness to share and educate and what you're doing, just making the industry so much better. So I really appreciate it. Heidi, thank you so much for putting this together.
Thank you. And thank you, Ken. Thank you for being here today and spending this time and sharing your wisdom.
Most welcome.
Thank you. And thank you all for listening. This is CoffeeCast from Roofers Coffee Shop, sponsored by Hover. And we are bringing you the celebration of roofing contractors from across the country all year long. So I hope you enjoyed today. I thought it was pretty amazing. And we'll have a lot more extraordinary roofing contractors and professionals coming your way soon. Stay tuned.